Hey, this is Julia. Welcome back to my channel, or just welcome if you're new here. So in today's video, we are doing a speed build and we are building in Ravenwood on a, I want to say 20 by 30 lot, or was it a 30 by 30? But anyway, it's like a medium to small sized lot. And the house is pretty medium sized as well, I would say. So it has 2 bedrooms and 1.5 bathrooms. So I actually made this build specifically for one of my Sims. Her name is Hazel and she is a ghost historian, which is a very cool aspiration in my opinion. She also has a cat, so she is definitely a cat lover. But anyway, because of the fact that I designed this for Hazel and her cat, there are a lot of choices that I made specifically for designing this for them. So you can find some objects that are specifically meant for Hazel so she can write her horror novels, and also there are a lot of like cat related items. And I actually made the other bedroom specifically for Hazel's cat, whose name is Honey, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. But anyway, Honey has her own bedroom because I designed this for just them and I didn't actually have any need for a second bedroom. But I decided to make one anyway because I had the space and I already had a room to be Hazel's office. So yeah, I wanted Honey to have her own room as well. But obviously, if you'd like to have more Sims living in this build, it would be easy because there are 2 bedrooms, and also the office can easily be turned into an extra bedroom. This is actually the first build that I'm specifically making for Ravenwood, and I was actually super excited about that because I really like the build and buy items, even though they are not my usual go-to style, or that might have actually been the reason why I was so excited, because it was like a good reason to just like let go a little bit about my usual style and make something really different. Anyway, about the packs that I used to create this build, I didn't actually like limit myself with the packs that I was using, but I gotta say that I was heavily relying on the Life and Death expansion plus base game. So especially the exterior is mostly done with just one expansion pack, but there were like some decorational objects and maybe like the trash bins and stuff like that was from other expansions. But you could definitely download this build even if you don't have all the packs that I used here. Also, the interior is mainly done with the Life and Death expansion plus base game, but I did use a little bit more stuff from other packs for the interior, but it was mainly decorational clutter and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely you don't need all the packs that I used to make this build. You would probably just have to change some things up or remove some clutter and stuff like that. The exterior of this house was a lot of fun to create, and I also think it turned out pretty well, but I do have some regrets about the back of the house. So I do think that looks a little bit awkward even. It's too plain, and I think I could have done so much more with it, but I was kind of giving up on that. But it's okay, you know, the back of the house doesn't need to look as good as the front. No one's looking at the back so closely, or at least that's what I tell myself to sleep at night. But yeah, it's okay. It's a little bit bland from the back, but just don't look too closely at it. I really like the front of the house, so I'm forgiving myself for this. Then the landscaping that I made was actually kind of a struggle. I really had no idea what I wanted to do with it. Everything that I did, it just felt a little bit off, and I actually had to stop filming and start all over again at some point because I don't know, the landscaping was all over the place when I first started doing it, but in the end, I think it turned out okay, even though I do have a little bit of regrets. I think I could have done a bit better with that. Let's move on to the floor plan of this house. So I had a lot of fun making the floor plan, and I think it turned out perfectly for Hazel and her cat. There is just enough space for them and all the rooms that they need. The only thing that I really did not like about this floor plan was that I had to make this, or well, I didn't have to. I chose to make this little half a bathroom downstairs. So it is only 4 tiles, and as you can see, I used a medium wall height for the downstairs, and every single time that I use a medium wall height and I have to make a teeny tiny room, it just ends up looking so awkward. So anyway, I just wanted to say that if you hate that bathroom, so do I. Don't worry. I simply added it for gameplay reasons because I didn't want my sim having to go upstairs every single time that she needs to pee or something. Anyways, currently we are creating the kitchen for this build, and I really found this kitchen to be interesting to make. I got to use a lot of the items from the Life and Death expansion pack, and I loved using them here. Also, one thing that I was super happy of like choosing for this build was that flooring that I used for the kitchen and also the bathrooms and the hallways. So I feel like it just really puts this build together. It was kind of like one of my starting points when I was starting to make the interior for this build. I kind of built everything like around that, and I think it was a very good choice because I didn't shy away from dark colors as much as I usually do. I just find it so hard sometimes to use black or some other really dark colors. But I think for this build, I found like a very good combination of darker colors with some lighter colors. So it didn't look too dark for me because I didn't want it to be too dark because I'm actually gonna do some gameplay in this home, and I wanted it to kind of still fit my usual aesthetic but still be different somehow. The dining room for this build is rather small. It's not like a huge dining room, but it does actually fit 6 sims. So it's not actually like a necessity for Hazel because she lives alone with her cat. But I just wanted to have a dining room for this build because I felt kind of inspired to make a dining room. And I think the dining room was a good addition, and Hazel could definitely host some very great dinner parties in here because of that dining room. And I think it was a good addition for this home. Also, I used basically only the rugs from the Life and Death expansion. No, actually, I used other rugs for the bathrooms and also at least one of the bedrooms. But yeah, anyway, the rugs from the Life and Death expansion, they have such cute swatches, or well, maybe not cute, but really beautiful swatches. And I was having a lot of trouble choosing which ones to use in this build. I was like going back and forth. I obviously edited some of that away, but I was really struggling with that. I have no idea how long I actually spent choosing the perfect rug swatch, but it was a long time. I really thought about that. It was serious business for me with this build. The living room of this build was actually a little bit bigger than I'm used to decorating, but I think it still ended up looking very cozy somehow, and I really enjoy the whole vibe that's going on in here. I especially love the bookshelves that I added. There are a lot of bookshelves in this living room because Hazel is a bookworm and, well, she deserves a lot of books. I wanted to give her that. By the way, I was really struggling with the cluttering for this build, so I was being very indecisive about some objects and how I wanted to place them, and also I forgot to add some clutter to some places, but I will do that later on in the video. I also had some issues with filling up that corner in the living room, so I tried to add some armchairs and a console table, but nothing looked quite right. So it kind of just popped into my mind that when was the last time I actually added a piano for one of my builds? So I decided to do just that. And I think the piano looks very good in the living room. And I was thinking that maybe playing the piano could be one of Hazel's hobbies, and I think it was a very cute idea, and I can definitely use that in the gameplay that I'm gonna do with this home. Next up, the entrance for this house. I think it turned out very simple but very beautiful and kind of like inviting. So I think it's a very good look for this build. Also, I ended up removing the rug that I originally placed there because at some point I realized that the floor was kind of like showing through it. You can see the pattern and it was really bothering me. I'm not sure if it's because of my reshade or if it's just in the game, but I really didn't want to have that there. And the same problem was with the bathroom rugs, but those I ended up leaving because I couldn't be bothered with it. I just really don't like the idea of having bathrooms with no rugs. I don't know, it just feels a little bit odd to me, even though it's very common in real bathrooms. I wouldn't be surprised if many people have that. I think in my childhood, we definitely didn't always have a rug in the bathroom and it was just fine. But for some reason, I feel like it looks so bare without a rug. I have to have at least a little rug in every bathroom that I make. Also, I added this super cute mudroom for this build. I think it looks super adorable. It doesn't really have a lot of actual gameplay purposes, except, well, that's where the back door is. And also, you could go just to sit in there because I added some chairs in there and it works perfectly well. Let's move on to the upstairs of this build. So the upstairs has both of the bedrooms and also Hazel's office and the full bathroom. Out of all these rooms upstairs, I think Hazel's bedroom or the office was my favorite. They were just a lot of fun to create, even though with Hazel's bedroom, I was kind of struggling because I felt like it was such a big space. Like, that is a huge bedroom, in my opinion, even though I know there can be a lot bigger bedrooms. But I'm used to making these tiny bedrooms where you really need to think about how you can actually fit a bed and some other necessities in there, like a bedstand and maybe a dresser or something like that. But with this bedroom, I had more than enough space and it was kind of getting on my nerves, to be honest. I was like, why is there so much space in here? What am I supposed to do with it? But I ended up filling it pretty well. I added some bookshelves and also I added this thing for Hazel's cat. I can't remember what are those called. It's like a, that kind of thing where the cat can like climb in and stuff. My English is not being very good on me today, but yeah, you can see it in the room. So it's that like black thingy. But yeah, anyway, I thought that was a very nice way to add some cat-themed items to the bedroom as well. Next up, we have Hazel's office. So it was a lot easier for me to make because it was a lot smaller room than Hazel's bedroom. So I was super happy when I was making this because I was like, oh my God, I don't have to fill up that crazy amount of space again. And yeah, I really enjoyed making this room, except the cluttering for Hazel's desk was kind of a struggle for me because I just wanted it to have a lot of clutter. I felt like Hazel would be the kind of person who would have just like a lot of notebooks and stuff like that just laying around on their desk. And I really wanted it to be very cluttered, but it's also kind of a lot of work to clutter something so thoroughly. Also, I was super happy because I got to use that round rug from the Life and Death expansion pack. I think it's absolutely stunning. Like, it's so beautiful, and I want to use it so much, but it's quite small, so there aren't a lot of rooms that it fits very well. But in this room, it looked absolutely gorgeous, and I know I could size it up obviously, but sometimes that makes the rugs look kind of awkward. I haven't really tried it with that rug yet, but anyway, I was just happy that I got to use that in this build. Then we're working a little bit on the hallway in the upstairs. It was a very simple kind of space. It just reminds me a lot of the entrance and hallway of the downstairs of this home. It is a cute and simple look, but I love it. Next up, the bathroom of this home was kind of a lot of fun to make actually, and that is a little bit of a surprise for me because to be completely honest, I kind of loathe making bathrooms. I mean, not always, but often I find myself thinking like, why do I have to do this? It is so boring. I don't know. My brain just doesn't like the idea of making bathrooms so much. But this one was just a lot of fun to make, and I did pay a lot of attention to it. So it turned out pretty well, in my opinion. Also, once I was like almost done with it, I was like, oh no, I need to add a litter box for the cat. And that made me change up my plans with the bathroom a little bit. So instead of the bathtub, I ended up adding a shower, but it actually worked really well. I was really happy that there was a shower with the Life and Death expansion because I don't know if I would have found a good shower otherwise. But yeah, everything worked out really well in the end. Then the only room that is left is this extra bedroom that I designed for Hazel's cat. So yeah, it doesn't really have like an actual purpose, at least for my gameplay, except, well, there's stuff for Hazel's cat. So it's really cute, but that's all that it is. But obviously you could use it as a regular bedroom if you'd like. After I was done with all the rooms, I went back and added some landscaping and some finishing touches for the exterior of this build. I also needed to move some windows because I'm not sure what I was doing with them. I think I changed some of those up in like while I was doing the interior, and then they weren't lining up, so they looked really funny, but I was able to fix that pretty easily. I also covered some awkward looking spots with the like wall ivy, and I think it made a huge difference for the look of the exterior. And once I was done with that, I went back inside and I added a little bit of something for like the living room, I added some clutter, and then for the upstairs hallway, I went in and added a chess table just because I could. So yeah. But anyway, we are starting to get to the end of this video. So I really hope that you have enjoyed this video. And if you did, please give it a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more videos from me. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye!